The engine hums beneath your hands. Your shoulders drop an inch. The world outside blurs into color. Something in your chest goes quiet. You didn't plan this feeling. It just arrived with emotion. Nobody explained why this happens. But your body knew before you did. This isn't about the car. This is about what's inside you. There's a reason your brain lights up. A reason rooted in real neuroscience. By the end, you'll understand exactly why. This craving for motion isn't random. It isn't reckless or accidental. It is a psychological signature. It's written into how you process control. It shapes how you find focus. It defines how you feel freedom. It says more than you've realized. This isn't a quirky little preference. This is a window into you. Stay with this for a few minutes. What you learn might surprise you. Think about the last time you drove completely alone. No passengers, no demands, no noise except the road. You noticed your thoughts slow down almost instantly. You noticed problems shrink by the time you parked. That wasn't coincidence, and it wasn't luck. That was your brain doing exactly what it's built for. You felt this pull dozens of times without naming it. The commute you secretly don't rush to end. The long way home you choose on purpose. The quick errand that quietly becomes a private escape. This is the surface behavior everyone recognizes but rarely questions. You've probably called it stress relief or habit. But underneath that simple explanation, something more specific is happening. Your nervous system is using motion as regulation, whether you consciously realize it or not. Even the small rituals matter more than you think. Adjusting the mirror, choosing a playlist, feeling the seat settle. These aren't nothing. They're the beginning of a shift. Your body starts preparing for calm before you even move. That's not imagination. That's a conditioned physiological response. Built slowly, drive after drive, over years. Now here's where it gets genuinely strange and worth your full attention. Psychologists have an actual term for what you're chasing behind the wheel. It's called an internal locus of control, and it explains a lot. Julian Rotter, the psychologist who coined this concept, found something powerful. People with a strong internal locus of control believe their choices shape outcomes. Driving hands you that belief in its purest, most physical form. Every turn, every stop, every decision is entirely yours to make. Nothing external dictates what happens next once you're behind that wheel. For a mind that spends most of its day reacting to others, this matters. This is rare, uninterrupted agency, and your brain treats it like oxygen. It isn't just enjoying the drive, it's actively regulating itself. Moment by moment, mile by mile, your system recalibrates itself quietly. Compare that to the rest of your day for a second. Meetings you didn't choose, messages you didn't ask for. Decisions made for you, before you even wake up. The car strips all of that away in an instant. No committee, no compromise, no waiting for someone else's approval. Just your hands, your foot, your choice. There's more happening beneath the surface than simple control, though. Driving demands what researchers call sustained selective attention. Your eyes track the road while your hands adjust constantly. This kind of focused, repetitive task activates something specific in your brain. It nudges you toward what psychologist Mihai Csikszentmihalyi called flow state. Flow is where challenge and skill align and time disappears. Csikszentmihalyi found flow reduces self-consciousness while increasing feelings of clarity and control. That's the quiet you feel after 10 minutes of driving alone. Your inner critic goes silent because your brain is fully occupied. There's no room left for spiraling thoughts when your hands are working. The wheel becomes an anchor, pulling your attention out of your head. This is why some of your clearest thinking happens mid-drive. Solutions arrive uninvited, somewhere between a red light and a highway ramp. Your brain isn't trying, and that's exactly why it works. Forced focus, paired with low emotional threat, produces this specific mental clarity. It's a documented state, not a personality quirk you invented. Does that sound familiar to you right now? Have you ever noticed yourself doing exactly this? Using the drive as a reset button you never designed. Most women who love driving don't call it therapy. But your body has been calling it that for years. Quietly, consistently, without ever asking your permission first. Here's where the story deepens even further than you'd expect. This need for autonomy often traces back further than adulthood. Developmental psychologists have long studied how autonomy shapes identity. Historically, women's independence in public spaces was restricted or questioned. Every solo drive you take becomes a small act of self-governance. It says silently, "I decide where I go." Researchers Deci and Ryan named autonomy a basic psychological need in their theory. Not a luxury, not an indulgence, but a genuine requirement, as essential to your well-being as competence and connection. When you drive alone, you are meeting that need directly, without asking anyone, without waiting for permission, without explaining yourself to anyone. Notice how differently you carry yourself after a long solo drive. Straighter posture, steadier breathing, a kind of quiet confidence. That isn't coincidence. That's autonomy expressing itself physically. This is the science behind what felt like simple preference. But real understanding requires looking at the cost too. Not just the gift this wiring gives you. Because here is the paradox almost nobody talks about openly. This same nervous system that finds peace in motion often struggles with stillness. If driving regulates you this effectively, what happens when you can't drive? The hidden cost is this, and it's worth sitting with. You may rely on movement to process what stillness never taught you. Silence in a stationary room can feel heavier than highway silence. That's not weakness, and it was never a character flaw. That's a mind that found one powerful coping tool and leaned on it. Hard, consistently, because it worked when little else did. Maybe you've noticed this in waiting rooms or long meetings. A restlessness that has nothing to do with boredom. A body that simply wants to be moving forward. But there is a hidden gift tucked inside that same wiring. Women who process emotion through motion often develop sharp present moment awareness. Your brain has trained itself, mile after mile, to stay grounded. That skill doesn't disappear the moment you park the car. It transfers directly into how you handle deadlines, conflict, and sudden chaos. You stay steady when others panic because your system already knows how. This dual nature is what makes your psychology so layered. The exhaustion of needing motion to feel okay is real. The strength of mastering calm inside movement is equally real. Both are true at once, and neither one cancels the other. That's not contradiction. That's complexity, the kind quizzes never capture. You are not simply a woman who likes driving. You are a nervous system that learned to find freedom through friction, control through motion, and peace through purposeful forward movement, mile after mile. Let's slow down for a moment now, away from the science. Because underneath all of it, there's something simpler and more human. That first drive alone, whenever it happened, meant something real. Maybe it was the first time no one was watching you closely. No one was correcting you, guiding you, or narrating your every choice. Just your hands, the wheel, and a version of you rarely seen. That version doesn't perform and doesn't apologize for existing loudly. That version doesn't shrink to take up less space on the road. That version simply exists, moving forward, 1 mile at a time. Every open road you've ever chosen was never really about arriving. It was about proving, quietly, to yourself, that you could choose. That you could steer your own direction, both literally and otherwise. That impulse to drive when things feel heavy isn't avoidance. It's instinct, built from years of learning exactly where your calm lives. And now, finally, you understand why that instinct exists. Not because someone told you to feel this particular way, but because your mind built this pathway out of quiet necessity. Then it kept the pathway open because it worked so well. It became one of the few places that felt fully, completely yours. No performance required, no permission needed, no explanation owed to anyone. So the next time you slide into the driver's seat, notice it. Notice the quiet arriving before you even reach the highway. That is not distraction. That is your nervous system remembering how to breathe. You are not just a woman who happens to love driving. You are someone who learned through motion how to come home, how to return to yourself again and again, mile after mile. And that is worth understanding fully, worth honoring completely, worth never apologizing for. If this felt like looking into a mirror you didn't expect, you're not alone in that feeling. There is a specific kind of person drawn to this channel. Someone who wants to understand themselves at exactly this depth. If that's you, consider becoming part of this community by subscribing now. Because next time we're going even closer to the bone. Into another hidden pattern quietly shaping how you move through the world. This one might surprise you even more than this one did.